Ciao y'all, welcome to Being a Musician. It is me, your host Helen, and today we are talking about 10 questions that every musician should ask themselves. Now, I have done this on purpose because it is, at least for the opera world, audition season, which means that it's a good time to start thinking about what you want from your career, what you want to do this year, setting some goals, and just like thinking about the general direction that you're heading in and making sure that it's aligning with what you want for your future. So if you're not a musician, I think that these would still be really great questions to ask, but you might need to shift them a little bit to make them a little less music-y. Okay, here we go. Starting off with number one, we have what do I want to be doing in 10 years? So I think that it's really helpful to look super far ahead to the future, right? Like 10 years is not super near. If we start working now, it's really like very possible for us to make a huge amount of change in 10 years versus like, you know, if it's like, well, what do I want to be doing next week? Well, probably kind of tricky for you to like get your ducks that much in a row that you can like change your whole life and career path in a week. But in 10 years, like that's pretty doable. We can do that. For me, what I do personally with this question is I ask myself, what do I want to be doing in 10 years? And then I kind of take it back 10 years. Okay, so what would my career need to look like 5 years from now? And keep backing that up until I get kind of to present day. And that informs, okay, so if I want to be doing that in 10 years, what do I need to be doing now to make that happen? We have a visitor. Next thing is, what is the sort of outside of the box avenue that I would like to pursue? So for me right now, that's YouTube. I find this really interesting. I find it really fun. I really love that I get to share information with people and just like talk about this subject that I'm super passionate about and share it publicly. And I would say that in the opera world, that's not really a very like traditional thing to do, a traditional hobby or like, you know, path to take, but I find it to be really enriching and exciting. Other things that I've done, and I think this partly goes back to why I define myself as a musician and not a singer. So I've also done like a mini documentary series with Arizona Opera that's been really sick. And I've also done like a lot of lecturing, a lot of recital work. I've done a thing where I go into schools and I talk to kids about musicianship and being a musician, and all of those are really cool things that I've done that are sort of outside of the traditional career path for an opera singer, but I have found them to be really exciting. I love the way that they make me think outside of the box and they teach me new skill sets. This is a big one. This one kind of stings. It's what's something that I know I should be doing that I'm not doing. So I find for most of us, there's something that we know and we've probably been thinking about it and putting it off for the last several months to years, but there's something that we know that we ought to be doing and we're just not doing it. So for me, that was working on my piano chops. For years, I had known like, okay, you know, I really need to be working on this. I need to be working on my musicianship, on my sight reading. It's gonna make me more competitive and I'm gonna be a happier, healthier, more well-rounded musician, blah, 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 blah. There's just a point where it's like the thing that you know that you're not doing that you need to be doing, honestly, it's probably not as hard and big and scary as you've made it out to be in your head. And so you can take that thing, figure out what the one thing is that you know that you're not doing that you probably need to be doing, we've been making huge improvement. You know, examples of this could be like scales, sight reading practice, it could be teaching, stuff like that. And usually, I'm gonna be honest, the first answer that comes to your mind, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, there's gotta be something else because it's, you know, something you've been putting off. It's the correct answer is most likely the first one that comes to mind, and we all have something. So, you know, see if you can take that big scary thing and break it down into some smaller steps, and that's gonna make it feel a lot more actionable and a lot more achievable. Number 4, I have to read off the page because I've literally tried to say it like 6 times and I can't, okay, because it's a little wordy, so forgive me. Number 4, what fears am I holding on to around succeeding in whatever I am trying to do? So I heard somebody talk about this once online and it was really like eloquently put. I'm gonna butcher it. I'm not gonna do this justice. But basically, like, even if you succeed at something, like there's always a negative consequence, even when you do well at something. So for example, if your career blows up all of a sudden and you're just like suddenly constantly like doing opera, constantly getting work, like amazing, how exciting. But also the negative consequences of that are like you probably don't get to spend as much time at home. You probably aren't gonna see your loved ones as much. You're probably gonna deal with a lot of frustrating situations that have to deal with traveling. And so no matter how excited you are about doing all of the things that you really want to do and you know deep down that you want to do, there is something negative that comes with that. And I think a lot of us self-sabotage because we're just a little bit scared by dealing with things that we're not familiar with yet. And it's this whole like, you know, it's easier to deal with the bad things that you have in your life now because you know at least how to deal with them, you know what they are, versus, you know, new situation, maybe it's a better situation for you in your life, but there's just a lot of like scary new things that you know you're gonna have to do. Number 5 is what is something I can do to make my future self feel more secure, safe, and prepared. So this could be something really, really simple, like practice the repertoire that you have for an upcoming event. That probably will make you feel more safe, but on another level, it might be something like saving for retirement. So I know for me, that's something that I have in the past, when I wasn't saving for retirement, had a lot of anxiety around, because I kind of always think to myself, like, you know, I don't know what retired opera singers do when they need money and they don't want to sing anymore, but I know that I don't want to do it, so. Okay, I just had a very exciting coughing fit out of absolutely nowhere. That was fun. So doing things like saving in retirement accounts and investing retirement accounts and just like really working hard to put away money for my future self to retire so I can be done when I want to be done has just made me feel a lot more safe and secure. I have a lot less anxiety around getting older. It's been such a wonderful thing that I can do for myself. The best feeling knowing that old lady me is taken care of. She's gonna be good. She's gonna be fine. She's gonna get the nice coffee and hang out with her cat on her nice porch chair, you know? It's gonna be a good time. Number 6 is pretty straightforward. It is my day-to-day life aligning with my goals for my personal and professional development? So if you're like really, really wanting to have a super like performance heavy career and you're not practicing every day, maybe we should look at that. Every day doesn't have to be perfect, but ensuring that your day-to-day life is aligning with your goals and that like you now are setting yourself up so that future you can be absolutely crushing it and having a fantastic time. It's always a good thing to think about. 7 is what are my biggest assets as a teacher, performer, and person? So I find that this is something like a lot of these questions that we ask ourselves are usually like centered around like what am I doing wrong or where do I need to improve? Not necessarily wrong, but like where are my areas for growth? And I think that it's also really, really important that we look at the things that we're doing super well and we lean into that. So you want to figure out what your strengths are in all of these arenas as a person, as a performer, and as a teacher. And you want to figure out how you can really lean into those because it's really important that we grow in areas where we're maybe not the most successful and not the most competitive, but it's probably going to be more fun and easier for us to grow in areas where we are already killing it. And so why not do that? What does my ideal support system look like and how can I build that? So this is a really important one that I think that nobody in university at any point talked to me about like having some sort of a support system because this career is super difficult and it is like one of those things that like really does take a village. For me personally, I have, you know, been very fortunate that I have amazing coaches and amazing mentors that I can reach out to and ask for help when I have questions or when I don't know what's going on. But in the beginning, it definitely wasn't like that. And I didn't really have anybody that I could just like, you know, send a text on a Saturday at 3 p.m. and be like, can you explain how I need to write my resume? I don't know what a music resume looks like and I need one. I didn't have that and so it was really, really difficult and it just made everything 10,000 times harder than it needed to be versus now I have like a whole bunch of people that at just any moment I can reach out to and ask questions and that's really important. That's actually part of the reason that I started this channel was because I got so frustrated that there was absolutely no information anywhere for me about what I needed, like things like writing a resume and headshots and all of that. Like I had no idea how to do any of it. It was a process of trial and error, which, you know, it's fine. That's a great way to learn, but also it would have been really nice if there were resources out there to help me that were up to date and actually like aligning with industry standards. So if you're also frustrated by that, I would recommend you subscribe to this channel because that is one of the biggest things that I'm most passionate about and most wanting to do here is just like help answer questions and just like document my journey of becoming a full-time musician and singer because God knows it's hard and there's like no information on how to do it. Thank you so much for watching this far and if you are looking to support me in that journey, I would love it. It would mean so much to me if you would like, comment, or subscribe to this channel. That would be incredible. All right, so the next question, number 9 is, ooh, okay, this is one I'm gonna have to read from the page because again, it's very long and I'm not gonna try to read it 10,000 times and get mad at myself because I stumble over my words. We're just gonna read it from the page. Is my current practice system supporting me in what I'm trying to achieve and where I am trying to go. This sounds like one of the questions we already asked, but it's a little bit different. I would say like my current practice system is actually needing a little bit of a revamp because I'm not necessarily doing all of the things every day that I need to be doing to make sure that I can succeed in all of the different things that all of my music is requiring of me. So there are some things that I would like to be doing right now for range expansion so that I can have like more security in the top. There are things that I want to do with agility. I should probably work on my chromatic scale because that needs a little bit of love and care. And then also, you know, I can always do things for like support and tone, and there are certain exercises that I could be incorporating into my day-to-day practice that I'm just not doing on a daily basis right now, and so I'm not experiencing the most growth in those areas like I know that I could be. So I would say currently my practice system is not actually supporting me in, you know, creating the musician that I know I need to be and that I'm wanting to grow into. So that is a great sign for me that we need a little bit of a revamp, and I should probably sit down and just like map out an ideal practice session for myself so that I can make sure that I'm getting all of those things done. Okay, and then number 10 is how can I make the part of my job that I dread the most just a little bit easier for me? As a musician, there's a lot of different components to my job. That's what I'm trying to say. The things that are the absolute most difficult for me are more of like the admin side of my job. So doing things like showing up and simply singing, performing, like that's the easy stuff. I got that, that's not a problem. Like practicing, not an issue. Learning music, not an issue. What's really hard for me is doing things like billing, sending emails, recruiting for my studio. All of that is the kind of stuff that I just like is my least favorite part of my job, right? And so I think something that I could do to make that a little bit easier for me is when I have a little bit of extra time this week, sitting on Canva and making myself templates for all of those things. So I could make myself just like a bunch of different promotional materials for my studio that I can have ready at any time. People keep asking me if I have business cards, and I need to do that. I need to get on that. But also like writing a just general rough draft for questions that I got asked a lot. Maybe making some sort of an informational packet for people when they first join my studio so that I don't have to sit down and get really stressed every time I get a new student about like, oh my God, they have all these questions and I need to explain things to them. Like it would be probably ideal if I just had like a common facts and questions sheet that I could just send to people. That would be chill and smart of me, so. Wow, look at me, reflecting, getting a better understanding of what I want for my career from these 10 questions. Amazing. So I hope that you found this helpful. I find that the best way to work on these questions is in a journal. That's my favorite way to reflect, but if something else works better for you, go for it. And honestly, maybe like drop me a comment and tell me what it is, because I'm always looking for new ideas. But thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if you just feel compelled to share your answers in the comments, well, who am I to stop you? That would be kind of sick, actually. All right, so thank you so much. All of these questions will be available in the description box. So just like click down there, look at them. You can take a screenshot, copy, paste, whatever you gotta do. So thank you so much for watching, and that's it for me. Ciao.
Don't leave me